Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Conn'Cast Podcast. I'm your host, Finn Tumber, as usual, and I think that always sounded very familiar from the first episode. I am joined with my co-host this time, Cameron Ralph. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm still here, so that's a good sign. This one's not about me, because it can't always be about me, apparently.
You made it through the first episode, so
yeah.
But no, it's always about you, Cam. But actually, the more important one today is our very special guest, Chloe Amey-Ayress.
Oh, you pronounced it right.
I know, I'm
well.
learning. I know.
I know you practice in the mirror doing it.
I do a lot. It's true. It's very true. And shadow boxing, but whoa. Anyway, without further ado, Chloe's going to be talking about some neurodivergent stuff with mental health experiences with that. So thank you, as always, for coming on. I always say to all my guests, I really appreciate it.
No problem.
So yeah, Chloe, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm
Fantastic.
apprehensive.
That's all good. Yeah, should we get straight into it then? So
yeah,
talk to us about where do you want to start really with. Where do you want to start from?
Well, I wanted to talk about university because I feel like that's a big part of people our age, anyways, life, and it's very confusing. Kind of dive in there because that's where it all started, really. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so let's go straight into it. So yeah, I mean, when you first went to university, like that was probably quite a crazy experience, wasn't it?
Yeah,
For everyone.
It was so overwhelming. I was so overwhelmed, but I feel like at the time I was 2 weeks 18, so I was very young.
Because we met you. Was it on your 18th we met you?
Just
before, yeah. So like, I remember you going to uni, and then after that I was kind of like on Instagram and stuff. I didn't really know much what was going on at all.
I don't think anyone did.
No. So yeah, tell us about it. So like you went to uni.
Yeah, I moved to uni, and I remember the first day, like unpacking everything. I went to Leeds, so that's about 5 hours drive away from here. It was a long haul.
Was it nice, by the way? Sorry. Was Leeds nice? Would you recommend someone go there?
Well, it depends. Maybe for the course and nothing else. I think 3 years is enough.
Yeah, just fair.
I would end it on that. 3 years is enough there. Yeah, I went there the first kind of day. I remember going out. We'd unpacked all our stuff. I met one of my flatmates, and we went out onto the town. And she was like, "So, what drinks are you getting?" And I was like, "Drinks." Bear in mind, I'm 2 weeks 18. I didn't really get to go out.
Alcohol, like what?
Yeah, I'd been to Spoons once, but this was a different ballpark for me.
Yeah.
So when I went out, I was like, what do people drink? Like, what is a drink? What am I ordering? I don't know. Am I making this up?
Yeah.
I felt like a lot of, just fake it till you make it.
Yeah, which is a good coping mechanism sometimes to get going. Yeah.
But the anxiety, I would say, was like
I can imagine,
huge. I think it's daunting for everyone, but for me, I felt like it took me a long time to settle in.
Yeah, 100%, and it's quite a big change as well. So were you living at home your whole life basically, or with a guardian?
My whole life.
Yeah, so like to then jump into uni, I think.
Going from like a small town to this big city, I was like constantly overwhelmed, and I didn't understand why. Yeah. And then then lectures started becoming a thing, and like going into university, and I just couldn't do it, and I didn't understand why. When anyone asked me, like, "Oh, just go in," or like, "Why aren't you going in?"
It is that attitude, isn't it? It's the just get on with it attitude.
Completely. But the problem is when I didn't have an answer myself of why aren't I going in? Like, I enjoy the course I'm doing. This is art. This is what I love. This is my passion. So why can't I go in? And because I didn't have an answer, I felt like, yeah, you're so right, and I'm just wrong. I don't know what's wrong with me.
I should probably know this being your friend, but what was the exact course you did?
It's outrageous.
I know, I'm an awful friend.
Every small detail of my life.
How dare you?
No, I did illustration.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't regret it. It was a great course. I have like a couple of regrets. One being how little I went. in first year, I could count on my hands how
Oh,
many times I
wow.
went in.
I think a lot of people can relate to that as
Oh,
well.
Yeah, I had a lot of engagement meetings and
Yeah.
them emailing me being like, so Chloe, do you still go to university? I'm not too sure.
Would you? Oh, sorry.
No, please, please, Cam.
One at a time, please, everyone.
You spoke first. You go, Cam. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, do you think that the kind of anxiety that you was having was stopping you from going in as much as well? Do you think that was kind of keeping you away a bit more?
100%, because I used to wake up in the morning, I'd set my alarm, I'd set a million alarms, and I'd even sometimes to the point of I would get dressed and get myself ready. I'd literally take one step out the door and be like, no, can't do it. I don't know why, but I can't do it. I feel sick.
Yeah.
Like, I just could not get myself in there. And it was then when I started going to like social gatherings and, you know, like flat parties and all of that stuff that you're kind of introduced to at that time.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't talk to people.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. Like, my friends would describe me as someone that's quite jokey, quite out there, very bubbly. I'm not.
But also as well, because didn't you start, was it 2021 your course started?
Yeah.
So that was just off the back of like lockdowns and COVID, etc. So I feel like as well, I think we said this on our episode.
Yeah,
now,
we did touch on it last
about
week,
lockdown, about how like I think a lot of social skills. I mean, mine plummeted. It's still not great, but like I didn't have that engagement with other people and talking to people. And I feel like if I went to uni when you did, that would have really messed me up. Actually,
That's something I've never even thought.
Yeah.
But actually thinking about it, that definitely didn't help me.
Yeah, they're coming straight from my lockdown. It's like, whoa, all of a sudden I'm like in this
Yeah.
crazy town with all these people or city. So
I personally loved lockdown. For me, I mean,
okay, interesting,
it probably did have a lot of negatives that I wasn't aware of.
at the
But,
time,
yeah. But for me, as someone that feels so comfortable in my room, just by myself drawing, that is my happy space.
That is actually such a good point, because what I was going to move on to and say about when you were at uni and even lockdowns you just said, I think it's quite similar to Cam. Did you use your creative side at all to help with your anxiety?
I did and I didn't.
Okay,
I go through flits and flats of using it as a way of like, oh, I don't feel great, but I'll try and draw. But then I usually find because I don't feel great, the work I'm doing isn't great. So
that's a good point.
it
Actually,
put me off for a while, and I'd keep going back to it. It's always been something I've come back to, but I have to be in a good mindset, otherwise it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Yeah, if your head's not in the right frame of mind, it's hard to actually put it down on paper.
It gets so
I
frustrating.
think the phrase creative burnout is something that's very, I mean, both from two creative perspectives.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear.
You can find that thing, and I don't know if for you that kind of adds on when it's something that you absolutely love and then you're not doing it and you're kind of almost avoiding doing it. It makes you question a lot, doesn't it? And you think, what's wrong?
I feel bad calling myself an artist sometimes because I've like, when was the last time I actually took time away to go and craft and create?
Interesting.
Yeah, and talking about burnout as well, that's something I wanted to like...
That's a good
get
segue.
to,
There,
Please.
because...
Please do.
Yeah, thank you. Taking over here, guys.
No, it's good. This is your show, Chloe. This is you. So.
No, so I went to university, realised I can't talk to anyone, and I used to get so burnt out all the time. We'd go to these like house parties or we'd go clubbing or whatever they wanted to do in first year, and I would last an hour maximum and I'd have to go home, and I'd come home, and to be honest that was like really hard. I'd cry a lot of the time. I'd come home and be frustrated because I felt like I was missing out, but I just couldn't handle the noise and the atmosphere and
the chaos of it all.
I didn't understand why, because it wasn't, oh, I just don't enjoy clubbing. It was so much more.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
So then, my mum actually was the one to go, hey, Chloe. Like, I was like, yeah. She was like, I think you might be autistic. And I was like, no, I can't be.
It was your mum that said that.
I
I don't know how this all came about. So tell the story.
She was like, Chloe, I think you're autistic. And in my mind, I was absolutely certain, no. Because to be honest, I didn't know a lot about it. I think I was quite stereotypical with autism myself before.
Yeah.
My sister was diagnosed with autism before me, and she's 15 now, so we're very different. And in my head, I was like, well, autism's this one thing.
Yeah.
So I don't react the way she does with certain situations, so I can't be. I'm completely fine. But then I kind of sat on it, and I was like, oh, well, I do cry if my socks are wet, and I do have to go home. Like, really odd situations.
Interesting.
Like, if I can feel any part of my clothing is too tight on me and I can't get it off instantly, I can't explain the panic that sets in.
How interesting, yeah.
And I feel like around me, everyone's like, their volume's turned up, the background noise.
Was that something that you realised, like, after your mum said that, and you went, okay, maybe I am? Did you then look up what the spectrum was, the autistic spectrum?
Yeah, I think I started to try and search for things, but if I'm being completely honest, it confused me more, because there's nothing. For women especially, there's a lot on autism in boys, young boys. But for someone who's in their 20s and is a female, is not very, I hate to say it, but obviously autistic is the phrase that gets thrown around, right? Oh, well, you cope fine.
Yeah,
so
you must be alright,
When I tell people, they're just shocked.
A lot of people as well with this autism spectrum, ASD, isn't it? It's like a spectrum disorder. So like, obviously you've got high functioning autism. That please correct me if I'm wrong. That a lot of people say, "Oh, you're alright. Like, you could talk to people, you could do stuff." But when it's high functioning, it's the part where in society people don't understand.
Completely.
People just think, oh, you're all right, like you just said.
The conversation I will have when I start showing I'm autistic. Or like I'll stim or so, I don't know.
What's the stereotypes of it? Sorry.
So a lot of, well, you're not very good at a specific subject, and you don't have this deep knowledge about this one subject. Because not everybody does. No. And just because you're autistic, it doesn't make you a genius. I am not a genius, I draw. Please.
But so with, obviously, so you did get diagnosed, am I right in saying your case?
I did. It was a long process. And also a lot of it was filled with doubt of, what if I'm just faking it? But that's often a sign of you're probably autistic and you're thinking a lot about it. So there's probably something going on. I have a conversation a lot with people of when I tell them, oh yeah, I'm autistic. They'll say, oh, well, I couldn't tell. As if almost it's like a compliment. And it's not.
That's a really key point, actually, when people say that, because it's not, it's like it should be a compliment or it should even be hated on. It's just, this is, you are Chloe, you have this, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it makes you who you are.
Oh, 100%. I would be nowhere near as cool if I didn't know that.
That's so funny. But like, that is you, isn't it? I sometimes feel like people put labels on things when they say, oh, you've got ADHD or you've got autism, or people start to label you as you're the autistic person. But like, you're Chloe, and that's cool. It's cool to be you.
Another word I feel people find is quirky.
Quirky.
Yeah. When I told my manager at work, oh, by the way, I am autistic, would I be able to wear my headphones? He was lovely about it. But this was like a separate manager who actually said to me, oh, well, you don't seem it. And I was like, oh, okay. Sorry? I don't know how to approach this. And then they're like, well, what do you want us to do about it? Because you've been getting on fine already before you were diagnosed. And I was like, but I wasn't. I was masking, and I'm very good at it.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Call me an actress. I'm taking your job.
Yeah. And the masking of it. Sorry, the masking, was that because you kind of, obviously you didn't know for a fact that was it, or was it because you didn't want to be
different?
Yeah, different. I'm thinking of the word. Different. Yeah.
Before I was diagnosed, my mental health was terrible. I was very, very anxious constantly. I was described as like the shy girl, got on with the work, didn't didn't really have much to contribute to anything, and like I would never put myself out there in any situation because I didn't feel good enough, and because I was aware, I thought differently to everybody else in this room. Well, the majority of people. I was just a bit of a wreck until I was diagnosed, and that's a whole different process after that.
When that happened, you were diagnosed, was that kind of like a realisation of actually, it's okay to be me and who I am, but did it help you kind of understand yourself a bit better after you did that a little bit?
Yeah, I would say there was like stages. It was almost like, you know, in The Simpsons when they go through the different stages of like, I don't know, first there's like grief and then there's like...
the 5 stages of grief, but I don't know the Simpsons version.
No, I don't know that
I want to know it. Do you know the 5?
I don't.
Tell me the 5. Oh no! Well, it's like it's got like.
I didn't come prepared.
When's acceptance? So like acceptance, the last one, isn't it?
Yeah, very much and I'm still like coming to accept.
Right.
But
okay.
I would say my first actual initial reaction was dread. I was I always thought in my head I'd grow out of it. It would go away. I wouldn't feel this anxiety constantly. I wouldn't feel different to everyone else in the room. I'd be able to make eye contact with people.
Is that something you?
I really struggle with it, but I feel that was the first stage of just mourning almost. This version of myself that I thought maybe I could get.
When you obviously got diagnosed and it happened, how was that affecting mental health from there? Was it that you did really feel like, yes, this is me, and like, you know, that help at all? It's
complete. After the whole morning and being like, oh, I'll never be who I thought I could be because of it, and this will be a challenge forever, this isn't going away, this can't really be medicated. Obviously you can take stuff to stop anxiety, but personally for me it hasn't helped. And relearning myself basically, and who I am, and being okay with it. That's a big part of it.
Were you still at uni when this happened, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay,
it was
interesting.
At the start of university when I thought,
What happened at the start?
Is that when you got diagnosed?
No, so I thought, the question was floated. The question.
Are you autistic?
Who knows?
Who will find out after
Very
the break.
obvious. And then I had to wait around a year for the actual diagnosis, so I didn't do very well in first year of university because of that. And obviously you can get DSA, which is put in place, but I didn't get that for first year.
If you don't mind me saying as well in here, because I know you've got your defenders.
They're over there somewhere.
They're over there in case you don't listen to me anymore. Finn's talking too much.
Noise cancelling's always on when they're around.
Finn's here like, please no.
Now.
Big time. But like, I know you've always got them, and like I love it, and like I think before I even knew, like I know some of the it's a spectrum. I want to say, guys, like autism is a spectrum. There's loads of different things. No two people are the same with it. But I saw when you had them, I was like, that's a really good idea. So did you buy them before you got diagnosed?
Yeah. I've always had earphones of some form at all times because I've always loved music. That's what I kind of thought.
Is that like an outlet for you with mental health?
100%,
big time, yeah.
Because it takes you get to focus in on one type of music rather than having all this background noise, and it helps me focus more.
Oh, okay, nice.
And then I got them as a present. I did for my 19th birthday, I want to say.
Okay,
And they've been with me everywhere I go ever since. I can't imagine my life without them.
They are quite incredible as well.
They're brilliant.
You let me try them on, and when the sound goes, it's just like the sound's gone.
Completely. You're in your own little bubble.
Yeah, but with sensory issues as well, that I can see how that would just completely help out, because it just gets rid of all that scraping noise.
Yeah. Completely. No background noise, just vibes.
Question. Sorry.
I was literally just finishing off that. So please. Yeah.
It's going to be we're getting used to the whole co-host part of
the co-host. 3 of us, we're getting used to it. Sorry, Kat.
They're
What's that?
battling.
Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, trying to
I
be
won't be
alpha.
here every time. It's fine.
Whoa.
Okay. Question I was going to ask was, even when people do know that you have autism, do you find that there's still some people that don't really accept it, and does that affect you?
I'm constantly having to prove it.
Yeah.
Because I've been described as like quiet, shy, but like I don't know how to explain it. People just see me as like not autistic because I'm a pretty girl and you can't be autistic.
Autism doesn't have a look either.
No.
And
You don't
that's
know.
a big
Yeah, people say you don't look it, and I hate that so much because
such
it
a
doesn't.
misconception.
It's a neurological thing.
Mhm.
It's not visible, and I hate it when people say that.
It is all up here.
It's all up there, and then you don't look it. I'm like, get away.
And I'm just coming back onto that question.
Yeah.
You were obviously saying about like I feel like I constantly have to prove it. Especially at work when I first started wearing my headphones. The questions, and then when I answered and said, "Oh, it's because of this," it was, "Oh, well, my son's autistic and he doesn't need to." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's brilliant. That's great for
Good
him.
Yeah.
But for me, this is just my needs being met, and that shouldn't bother you." And I don't understand why I constantly have to prove it. Like, do you want me to just take away my little document with me, being like, "Look, it's here, I promise." I don't understand.
I think a lot of people nowadays also think that everyone is just self-diagnosing as well. Because I know obviously there are some people that will look up on the internet and go, "Oh my god, I've got this, I've got that," but there's people that just have this general consensus that, "Oh, everyone's faking, it's not real, just go back to work." Yeah.
I often find people go, what are your symptoms then? Symptoms, yeah.
It's almost a disease.
Oh yeah. I've had someone apologise when I said I was autistic before. Like I'd catch the plague. But
Oh, God.
no, so I've had people go, "Oh, well, I relate to those," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, they are also, traits of being a human. Like, we're not aliens. Obviously, we're gonna have things that are in common, but it's heightened for us." So, "Oh, you don't enjoy the noise of fireworks? Oh, okay, brilliant. But you go home at the end of the day and you'll be completely fine. Whereas me, I'm like fighting a meltdown and I don't understand why." There's difference. It's like higher
major
levels.
difference, yeah.
100%.
We are not aliens.
No, absolutely not. So with all of this, obviously it's the discovery that obviously you're neurodivergent in that sense, and uni and all this thing, like there's a lot of stuff happened in the past 3 or 4 years, might I add, by the way. That's huge. With all of this and all these experiences, what did you kind of do throughout this period to help your mental health? Were there like various things?
Yeah.
Just inspire the people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Well, I feel like I tried for a long time to just pretend like it didn't exist, and that didn't help. That didn't help. I couldn't continue. After I was diagnosed, I couldn't continue masking as well as I could before.
Yeah.
And I think it was because I was actually starting to accept it inside a little bit, and then it was showing more almost.
Yeah.
And I feel like the ways I tried to help it was just being unapologetically me. And keep reminding myself that if someone is there judging you, it's a reflection on them.
Oh, so
Absolutely.
much,
And
so much.
Yeah, I felt like a weight was lifted.
I always think as well, people are going to judge you regardless. I'd rather just be me and they can judge me for being me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's hard to really do that, and especially like you said, it's funny you said about those 5 stages of it's almost like grief in a way, because you're saying there's like denial of it, which you were just saying about being like, oh no, like this isn't it, but now you are coming to the acceptance. And can I say I'm very proud of you, Chloe, as well.
Thank you
so
very much.
I've known
Thank
you
you.
just before that, and guys, I've learned a lot in this podcast, by the way, because there's a lot of things I didn't know just from listening to this. And I do want to say that I'm very impressed that you've managed to obviously get diagnosed, you managed to find out about yourself, and you're doing, like, from outside, you're doing pretty well from the sounds of it, you know? You've got your ear defenders, but, like, you know, you can still, if it's expected sound, you're okay, aren't you, usually?
Yeah, I feel like it depends on the day, how much sleep I've had.
Yes, it's a big one. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
I need if you're neurodivergent, you actually need more hours of sleep than a neurotypical.
Seriously?
Seriously,
I
because
did
your
not-
brain is
didn't know
going
either.
10 times the speed.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So that's why I
Wow.
constantly feel tired more than the average bear.
Well, sleep's hectic. Yeah.
Sorry, I just heard that.
That tickled you, didn't it?
It did a little bit.
I was really slow to that, by the way.
I think we both clicked at the same
Yeah,
time.
I was like, I was just about to go to something else. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what the hell? Yeah, sleep's very important for your mental health. Tick. That is one.
Completely.
Obviously, a workplace needs to understand as well, because when you have to work late, obviously
do,
that's
yeah.
going to affect you as well. Thinking about it.
Yes.
Oh, a big one with autism and stuff is that there isn't enough publicity revolving around it, I don't think. I think there's a lot of stereotypes and there isn't enough awareness for neurodiversity. I notice as well, I mean, you two probably have the same algorithms on Instagram as me, I'm going to be honest, and there's a lot of memes of autism and things like that.
Oh, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's almost like a therapeutic way that you go, like, say, you know, you come across like a meme on Instagram and it's about autism, and you go, oh, I have autism, and in a weird way, you kind of, it's quite therapeutic because you're like kind of bouncing off each other, and you're kind of accepting it because you find this autism
Definitely.
community.
I
But-
feel like it's really positive to actually make something
Yeah,
that's
out
deemed
of
so
it.
negative
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be a positive thing, because as much as there are a lot of negatives of autism, obviously, but
Mhm.
like nobody would be who they are if they weren't autistic.
Absolutely, absolutely that. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions about autism, as we've just discussed, and social media isn't always best for that.
No.
But this is a way of raising awareness for it, you know, so it's really good that you're speaking about this.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of like helping with mental health and stuff, you said about obviously music, you said about obviously, I think the whole realisation you've got autism and things has helped you as well. Yeah, anything else really that's kind of helped you in this whole crazy voice?
Telling people I'm autistic.
Yeah, that's acceptance in
Yeah.
itself, isn't it?
Not trying to hide it.
Talking
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And telling people my needs, and sometimes I'll react a certain way if you're this many minutes late than you said you were going to be.
Yeah.
And it's just basically just telling my friends, and so then they can put in place different things that they do to then make me feel comfortable. And it actually has shown me as well, like, people who are my friends and who aren't really, because people who are my friends won't sit back and be like, oh, they'll want to help.
Mm.
And that's definitely been something I've noticed and picked up on.
Your friends have been really supportive. That is great
Yeah.
to hear.
100%.
That's really good, because the worst thing you want is them to turn their back on you and go, oh, that's weird. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. No, I've been really lucky with the people I've met, especially at university. I would say, no matter like what typical university fights, whatever. No matter that, they have always been there in that sense for me, and they've always they've adapted their lives to try and help me, which I'm really grateful for.
So good. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
It's amazing how life always works out, I've got to say. Sometimes when it's like really, that was a very crazy period for you, it always works out, I feel. So, yeah, I'm really proud of you, as I said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to say?
Thank you.
No, honestly, please. Anything else?
So I guess just summing up ways of coping and any ways that can help. We've said about music as a big way. Is there any other ways that you can think of?
Obviously, I said like just be yourself and deal with the consequences of that. Obviously, don't be a bad person.
One thing I wanted to say, definitely don't be a bad person. Definitely never.
That's not what I mean.
Yeah, I'm going to hold you to this. I'm going to say it in the podcast. That is, you can hear it. You went to me yesterday about running. You did.
I was quite drunk yesterday.
Well, you said it to me, and it's going to happen. No, it's fine. You don't have to. You don't want to.
What
But
did I say?
you said you wanted to go for running. You wanted to go running with me.
I
You
was
did.
drunk.
Yeah, I know.
That is the only thing, the only time I would ever say
Which is
that.
why I wanted to say it. Now we can hear it. It's,
No.
it's
Immortalised
it's
forever
immortalised
on video and audio.
Chloe said she wants to run with me. So it's now here. It's now, like Cam said, forever. So I want to say that it is great running. So if that ever would help you, because it's changed my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, as long as it's just like you're accepting, that you're neurodivergent,
Yeah.
and obviously music. I know you're very creative, just like Cam. Like you know, you guys do a lot of writing. And if that's helping your mental health and it's got you here, then that's really, really good.
Definitely,
So,
and I would just, the last thing I wanted to kind of just touch on quickly was that I spent so long trying to pretend like I was someone else, but I've had the most compliments when I've just been me. And it's so nice. It's refreshing to know that you can be yourself and it will be okay. Yes. It will be okay.
Yeah, just be you. You'll be fine.
At one point, when I was being diagnosed, I thought, I can't see this going up. This is terrible. I am always going to have this. It's going to be so bad. Now I'm in a different mindset.
It's good.
Now I'm excited about it.
It's good.
Gets me creative, gets me thinking differently. I'm constantly complimented on the way I see the world. I wouldn't change it now.
No, because you are your own. It's a superpower. I feel like being autistic and.
Oh yeah, classic Kate.
But being Chloe, I don't want to say I don't want to keep on saying about autism because you are Chloe. You're not this autistic person. You are Chloe.
Yeah.
And that is amazing to be. To be you. To be Chloe. You're a pretty cool girl. What to say. And like I said, I'm really proud of you for this whole journey you've been on. And thank you so much for sharing your experiences, honestly.
Thank you for having me. I've had such a blast.
As soon as Chloe said she was coming on, I was like, yeah, please come on. And you told me the topic you had. I was like, yeah, that's great. That's great. But remember, guys, just be you, okay? That is the moral of this whole podcast.
Unless you're Cam.
Yeah, that's not...
Well, there goes the message.
Yeah, do we keep that in there? It's kind of funny. I might keep
that
it.
Is I'll allow it.
But, yeah, Chloe, yeah. This has been your host, Finn Cumber. Anything else you want to add?
No, I've said too much.
No, too much, you haven't too much. This has been Cameron Ralph, your co-host. And thank you once again, Chloe. And get out of here. I'm joking.
Roll the we don't have outro music, do we?
Oh no, we'll make a bit of outro.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, all good. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.